Want me to be extra specific on my time spent during the workday? I can do that.
TLD or at the end.
I work in sales.
I spend time in my actual office and on the road making cold calls.
The small company I work for uses a call logging software that plans my trips to customers. A typical logged call would look like this.
Called X customer time spent in call notes.
About a year ago, the owner of the company asked me to create a customer called Office Work to ping on the software to let him know I was in my office and not out seeing customers. In the call notes I would write a short general description on what I did in my time in office.
A month ago the owner decided his fresh out of college 22-year-old son was fit to be the manager of
all salespersons.
His son has commenced to micromanage my daily call reports to the fullest extent.
He has to write a report to his father what each salesperson does every day. I get texts or emails almost daily asking what exact times I did what in my office or on the road. This culminated to the owner's son demanding I log each individual task, such as driving to a customer,
working on a spreadsheet,
or even warming up my vehicle. The example he gave me: 7:30 a.m. to 7:49 a.m. checked and responded to email. 7:52 a.m. to 8 a.m. warmed up truck,
etc. Each
entry takes about a minute to create and log.
He wanted to know what I was doing every minute of the entire workday. Fine, I can play ball. For the past week and a half I have been scrutinizing every single second of the day to ludicrous
extent.
I timed 5 minutes and counted the number of breaths I took to get an average amount of breathing per minute.
About 18 breaths per minute. Better log that. I began timing my bathroom breaks and logging it.
My fastest bladder draining is 48 seconds including washing hands. I timed how long it took to fill up my water and logged it. 29 seconds from start to back at my desk.
I timed how long to tie my boots and logged that.
4 seconds each boot.
Sitting at a stoplight.
Logged.
He now knows I can knock on a customer's door 10 times in 3 seconds.
For about a week I logged everything I did every waking moment of the workday, including the bites of my salad for lunch. Hell, I even got the other salespersons to join in the malicious compliance. He was inundated in hundreds of reports each day he had to comb through. Today he sent an email to the Salesforce that we are no longer required to give specific times for tasks, but rather of general description would suffice. Just like it was before he took over. TL. Dear boss man's son micromanaged, so I nano-managed to get back to being macro-managed.
Did you include the time you spent filling out the logs?
Seems like he might also want to know about that. Boss man's son micromanaged, so I nano-managed to get back to being macro-managed.
Hilarious. And effective. I had a boss who did this.
I included in my log the time spent writing the fucking logs. His boss saw that, and magically I no longer had to do the stupid report.
This was supposed to be done by my manager. I later found out,
and he had forwarded my reports as his own without reading them.
Called customer to discuss second quarter requirements. 20 minutes 12 seconds.
Logging into reporting software and documenting call to customer.
1 minute 10 seconds. Documenting my call to customer. 28 seconds. Documenting my call to customer. 26 seconds.
Etc.
Bossman's son micromanaged, so I nano-managed to get back to being macro-managed. A triumph of a sentence.
11 tenths. Start adding, applying for jobs.
Wait, you knocked 10 times in 3 seconds? Lol, I'd cuss someone out for this. Damn near got a spit take out of me when I got to this. About 18 breaths per minute.
Better log that.
Been there, done this. Worked in HR and manager wanted to figure out what part of our workload was taking up the most part
of our job. She got detailed everything for 2 weeks. Loved seeing her response as she went through page after page of my daily work life.
Drops a log. Better log the log dropping. Include length and circumference. And number of wipes please. Nano managed. I like that term.
This is so weird. I've never worked in sales, let alone managed a sales team.
So maybe I'm naive.
But I could have sworn the only important metric for a salesperson is how much did they sell?
Quote dot. 10:25 a.m. farted.
Lasted about 8 to 10 seconds. Pungent. Laughed about 10 minutes at the aroma. 10:27 a.m. coworker enters questioning the laughing. Leaves immediately. Continue laughing.
Reading this triggered me.
I worked for a place that did time sheets like this. The owner had cameras installed to watch every employee at their desks.
He would time your bathroom breaks and occasionally turn off the bathroom lights if he thought you
were pooping too long. Emails were constantly being sent out from HR warning to limit your time in the bathroom or at other employees' desks as you are being watched and will be reprimanded if they consider it excessive.
Once the pandemic hit, he required all calls be recorded.
Installed tracking software on the computer to track the keystrokes and record the desktop.
Also required employees to have a cam on them when they worked from home.
He would occasionally listen to the calls live and then contact the employees afterwards to comment on their call.
Word of warning: if you see any of these red flags with a future employer,
run. Run as fast as you can.
I had a similar issue with a boss. I was a billable resource at the time and was running at 2x the fully utilized metric.
We aimed to have 60% billable for each tech. That was considered fully utilized.
I was over 120% for 6 months. That's because I was the only person on our largest project.
My boss called and wanted me to start logging my non-billable time to a high degree of notation and
to come into the office.
They would no longer be paying for my home internet.
So in addition to billing 60 hours a week, he wanted me to drive into the office, which was one rented office. Single desk. Shared by 4 salespeople already. So I said, no problem, but I work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll come into the office, where I will have my work computer set up. Log my time. I'll then head to the customer site where I will work until 3. Then I will head back to the office where I will log my work and leave at 5. Doing quick math, I would drop from 120% to about 50 to 60% billable. He babbled for a few minutes and I simply hung up. I was pissed. The next closest person on my team was 40% billable and several were sub 20%. I had asked multiple times for some help and not received more than a day or 2. So I had given up asking for help and asked to just be left alone. Now that didn't work. I also hate useless and arbitrary rules. And thus would have changed my day to useless and arbitrary that hurt both me and my customer. So there I was, steaming about the crappy company I worked for, and my terrible boss and his short-sightedness, when my phone rang. He was calling me back. I answered the phone, and he started right in. Hang on, boss, I said. I agreed to everything you asked. However, I've had a moment to think about it and I've been working massive amounts of overtime, billing 3 times higher than the next closest person on the team. All you have done is made my job harder and I don't need this. I quit, effective immediately, and I hung up the phone. I should say, I was on the only vacation I ever took at that company at the time.
I emailed my boss my letter of resignation and CC'd the head of sales.
Clicked send and felt a feeling of great relief. My wife freaked out a little, since I was unemployed at that moment.
A few days go by with me ignoring the calls from my former employer.
Finally the customer calls me. Hello.
Quote, yeah.
Nerd. This is customer contact. I wanted to talk about where we were for Monday. Didn't anyone tell you I wasn't working there any longer? Quote, what do you mean?
Quote,
so I told them the story.
Actually, it's been interesting here dealing with your leadership.
I'll let you go.
Hey.
Before I let you go,
do you know anyone who would be good for the positions we have open on our site? Quote, I'll take a look. We disconnected and I went to their website.
They had a few positions.
One was for the director of IT. Click apply.
Get a call from the COO, one of 2 contacts I worked with at the company. We negotiated for 30 seconds and I secured a huge raise over my former company.
Started Monday. Sounds toxic and annoying. I'm glad you were able to get him to back off.
I was expecting to see some comments from someone who had also worked somewhere with billable
hours. Oh well.
I used to have to log every 15 minutes increment of the day. There was a metric of chargeable to the client work versus unchargeable work you were supposed to hit.
I want to say 80%. There were admin codes to account for doing your time sheet and reading emails and training and stuff.
Mine was always fiction. How did my day go? Well,
here are my logs. 8 o'clock to 8:15 taking a dump.
8:17 to 8:20 logging about taking a dump. 8:21 to 8:24 logging about taking a dump.
8:25 to 8:28 logging about taking a dump. 8:29 to 8:32 logging about taking a dump. 8:33 to 8:36 logging about taking a dump.
8:37 to 8:40. My new manager tried to do something similar.
He wanted to know what I did after hours. I told him other technicians call me for help and I assist. He wanted details in my timesheet.
I went the other route and said if I'm going to be micromanaged or if you don't trust me to fill
out my timesheet, then I'll turn my phone off after 5 p.m. and solve this problem.
After a few days of people complaining they couldn't get help from me, he told me to start answering my phone again.
I refused as I now found peace and quiet in the evenings. I won't even answer when he calls.
They don't pay me on call pay, so until then I don't answer my phone.
Good thing that micromanager met you. Who knows, maybe the boss knew you'd torment him.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.